Hello students, welcome to the lecture on quality of work life, and after the lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain the concept of quality of work life, describe the factors influencing the quality of work life, define the needs of quality of work life, explain the quality of work life as HR strategy. Let's start with a brief introduction to quality of work life. Quality of work life is a very broad concept with many different perceptions about it and therefore difficult to define. There are authors who are of the opinion that it is something that is defined by the people of the organization. Many authors, psychologists and management consultants agree that it is difficult to give a clear definition of the term quality of work life, other than it has to do with the well-being of employees. According to Davis, Levine and Taylor, quality of work life is defined by those aspects of work that the organization's members sees as desirable and as enhancing the quality of life at work. This could mean that for no two organizations the definition of quality of work life could be exactly the same. Depending also what the invested interest is, quality of work life can be defined in terms of the degree to which an organization's work environment motivates effective job performance, alternatively with the degree to which it safeguards the physical as well as psychological well-being of employees, and in other cases in terms of the degree to which it limits stress-inducing factors. High quality of working life has been equated with high employee motivation and also with a high level of employee satisfaction. Let's discuss about the concept of quality of work life. Quality of work life is specifically related to the level of happiness a person derives for his career. Each person has different needs when it comes to their careers. The quality level of their work life is determined by whether those needs are being met. While some people might be content with a simple minimum wage job as long as it helps pay the bills, others would find such a job to be too tedious or involve too much physical labor and would just find such a position to be highly unsatisfactory. Thus, requirements for having a high quality of work life vary from person to person. Regardless of the standards, those with a high quality of work life generally make enough to live comfortably, find their work to be interesting or engaging, and achieve a level of personal satisfaction or fulfillment from the jobs that they do. In other words, employees who are generally happy with their work are said to have a high quality of work life, and those who are unhappy or unfulfilled by their work are said to have a low quality of work life. Requirements. While requirements for a high quality of work life vary from person to person, certain factors are generally required for anyone to have a high quality of work life. These minimum factors are the equivalent of health, food and shelter for standard quality of life. However, they are more specific to careers or jobs. Achieving a high quality of work life. To achieve a high quality of work life, it is essential to choose a job that fulfills our needs. First, we must determine what those needs are. If we want a job that engages their mind and challenges them, it is important to understand that in advance so we can earn the qualifications that will allow them to obtain such a job. Dealing with a low quality life. Unfortunately, despite their best efforts, some people find themselves with a low quality of work life. They may be forced to take a job they do not enjoy because of personal or financial circumstances, such as a lack of options or education or qualifications. For those with a low quality of work life who are unable or unwilling to change jobs, it is important to cope effectively with the situation. Factors influencing the quality of work life. The factors that influence and decide the quality of work life are attitude. The person who is entrusted with a particular job needs to have sufficient knowledge, required skill and expertise, enough experience, enthusiasm, energy level, willingness to learn new things, dynamism and sense of belongingness in the organization. Environment. The job may involve dealing with customers who have varied tolerance level, preferences, behavioral pattern and a level of understanding. Opportunities. Some jobs offer opportunities for learning, research, discovery, self-development, enhancement of skills, room for innovation, public recognition, exploration, celebrity status and loads of fame. Others are monotonous, repetitive, dull, routine, no room for improvement and in every sense boring. Naturally, the former ones are interesting and very much rewarding also. The nature of job. For example, a driller in the oil drilling unit, a diver, a firefighter, traffic policeman, tram engine driver, construction laborers, wielder, miner, lathe mechanic have to do dangerous jobs and have to be more alert in order to avoid any loss of limb or loss of life which is irreparable. Whereas the pilot, doctor, judge, journalist have to be more prudent and tactful in handling the situation. A CEO or professor or teacher have more responsibility and accountability but safe working environment. A cashier or a security guard cannot afford to be careless in his job as it involves loss of money, property and wealth. A politician or a public figure cannot afford to be careless, for his reputation and goodwill is at stake. Some jobs need soft skills, leadership qualities, intelligence, decision-making abilities, and abilities to tram and extract work from others. Other jobs, they need forethought, vision, and yet other jobs need motor skills, perfection, and extreme carefulness. People. Almost everyone has to deal with three sets of people in the workplace. Those who are namely the boss, the co-workers in the same level, and the subordinates. Apart from this, some professions need interaction with people like patients, media persons, public customers, thieves, robbers, physically disabled people, mentally challenged children, foreign delegates, gangsters, politicians, public figures, and celebrities. These situations demand high level of prudence, cool temper, tactfulness, humor, kindness, diplomacy, and sensitiveness. Stress level. All these mentioned factors are interrelated and interdependent. Stress level need not be directly proportional to the compensation. Stress is of different types: mental stress, physical stress, and psychological or emotional stress. A managing director of a company will have mental stress. A laborer will have physical stress, and a psychiatrist will have emotional stress. Mental stress and emotional stress cause more damage than physical stress. Career prospects. Every job should offer career development. This is an important factor which decides the quality of work life. Status improvement, more recognition from the management, appreciations is the motivating factors that anyone to take the job keen interest in his job. The work atmosphere should be conducive to achieve organizational goal as well as individual development. It is a win-win situation for both the parties. An employee should be rewarded appropriately for his good work, extra effort, sincerity, and at the same time a lethargic and careless employee should be penalized suitably. This will motivate the former to work with more zeal and deter the latter from being so and strive for better performance. Challenges. The job should offer some challenges at least to make it interesting. That enables an employee to upgrade his knowledge and skill and capabilities, whereas the monotony of the job makes a person dull, non-enthusiastic, dissatisfied, frustrating, complacent, initiative-less, and uninteresting. Challenge is the fire that keeps the innovation and the thrill alive. A well-accomplished challenging job yields greater satisfaction than a monetary perk. It boosts the self-confidence also. Growth and development. If an organization does not give chance for growth and personal development, it is very difficult to retain the talented personnel and also to find new talent with experience and skill. Risk involved and reward. Generally, reward or compensation is directly proportional to the quantum of work, man-hours, nature, and the extent of responsibility, accountability, delegated powers, authority of position in the organizational chart, risk involved, level of expected commitment, deadlines and targets, industry, country, demand and supply of skilled manpower, and even political stability and economic policies of a nation.
Let us look at some of the basic concepts in this section. The concept of quality costs is a means to quantify the total cost of quality-related efforts and efficiencies. It was first described by Feigenbaum in a 1956 Harvard Business Review article. He classified the cost of quality into four categories: prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, and external failure cost. Iran classified the cost of poor quality into tangible and intangible costs. This slide highlights that the intangible costs form the biggest part of the cost of poor quality. These are the costs which are difficult to measure. Tangible costs like inspection, warranty, scrap, rework, and reject costs are just the tip of the big iceberg. This slide shows, as the sigma level of the process increases, the cost of quality decreases. Any activity can be shown as input, process, and output. A process takes one or more inputs, does some processing, and converts that into output. Literally, the inputs can be anything from labor, material, machine, decision, or information. Some of the inputs are controllable, while the others are uncontrollable. The factors which are uncontrollable, or too costly to control, or not desirable to control, are known as Noise factors. Customer plays a key role in the Six Sigma initiative. Customer satisfaction can be achieved when the customer requirements are met. CTQ, or critical to quality, are the key measurable characteristics of a product or process whose performance standards or specification limits must be met in order to satisfy the customer. Or, in short, critical to quality, or CTQ, are the expectations of the customer. Defect means failing to deliver what the customer wants, or failing to achieve the CTQ. Defective, on the other hand, means the failing of the entire unit to meet the required criterion. A defective unit will have one or more defects. However, not all defects make a unit defective. Six Sigma uses defects per million opportunities as matrix to calculate the level of quality in terms of sigmas. Defect opportunities can be thought of as the maximum possible number of defects in a unit if everything is wrong. So, if a unit has 5 parts, and in each part there are 3 defects possible, by multiplying these two numbers, we can say that there are a maximum of 15 defects possible, or there are 15 defect opportunities. In the previous slide, we calculated that with 5 parts, and 3 possible defects in each part, the total defect opportunities are 15. Suppose during the inspection, you find that there are actually 2 defects in 10 units inspected, then the DPO, or defects per opportunity, are 2 divided by 15 times 10, or 0.0133. The purpose of previous 2 slides was to show you how to calculate the DPMO. Once you have calculated the DPO, which you did in the last slide, just multiply the DPO with 1 million to get the DPMO, or defects per million opportunities. In the example discussed in the previous 2 slides, the DPMO comes out to be 13,333. By looking at the table, the sigma level for 13,333 DPMO is 3.7 sigmas. In 6 sigma, we attempt to achieve 3.4 defects per million opportunities.
Now let's move on to the next topic, which is need of quality of work life. The needs are physiological. These are basic physical comfort or bodily needs: food, sex, drink and sleep. In the workplace, these needs translate into a safe, ergonomically designed work environment with appropriate base salary compensation. Security and safety. People want to feel safe, secure and free from fear. They need stability, structure and order. In the workplace, job security and fringe benefits along with an environment free of violence, belongingness and love. This is a need for friends, family and intimacy, for social acceptance and affection from one's peers. In the workplace, this need is satisfied by participation in work groups with good relationships among co-workers and between workers and managers. Esteem. People want the esteem of others and they want to be regarded as useful, competent and important. People also desire self-esteem and need a good self-image. In the workplace, increased responsibility, high status and recognition for contributions satisfy these needs. Self-actualization. This highest motivation level involves people striving to actualize their full potential, to become more of what they are capable of being. They seek to attain self-fulfillment. The improvement of the quality of work life. The need for improving the quality of work life through making the job more satisfying and productive has been greatly felt. Factors such as the nature of the job or the role and the involvement of employees in work decisions are important for improving the quality of work life. The methods used to do so are job enrichment, job design and role interventions. An understanding of these methods and their application in extension organizations are essential for extension managers to improve the performance of the extension agents. Job enrichment and job design. Job enrichment refers to detailed analysis of the work to know the factors which make it a satisfying experience. Job enrichment uses the job as the medium of developing employees and changing organizational practices. Some of the factors which increase job satisfaction are a sense of achievement in the job, recognition for the job, the nature of the work itself, and opportunities to learn new things and grow. Did you know that the expression work-life balance was first used in the United Kingdom in the late 1970s to describe the balance between an individual's work and personal life? Role interventions. The study of roles, which are the positions employees hold in an organization as defined by the expectations of significant persons and the individuals occupying the positions, is a comparatively neglected aspect of organizations. Roles are an important dimension in increasing organizational effectiveness. Through their roles, people are linked with the organization.
I see quality of work life, that is, the culture of the organization, its policies, its employees, as affecting a person's ability to have a religious or spiritual life. And an employee's religious or spiritual life influences the quality of work life for that employee and the workplace in terms of morale and satisfaction. This idea fits with person-centered management, valuing people with all their talents and foibles. That doesn't mean that religion and spirituality in the workplace aren't without their problems, and we'll discuss this shortly. Now, I see three approaches that employers can take: the legal approach, the faith-friendly approach, and I'll introduce another approach, the religious competency approach. The legal approach is the antithesis of person-centered management. It takes its guidance from the law, prevention of discrimination, and the handling of complaints. Now let's take the case of Cloutier versus Costco. Cloutier was a member of the Church of Body Modification and wanted an accommodation for her facial piercings as part of her religious faith. By the time a situation gets to a Civil Rights Commission or to the court, the quality of life has deteriorated for that employee and the others affected by the issue. Using separation of church and state as it applies to government agencies and as used in the vernacular, the legal approach could just as easily be separation of church and organization. The second approach, the faith-friendly workplace, has its roots in what David Miller has called the Faith at Work movement, the quest for the integration of work and faith, and it dates back to the 1980s. Faith-friendly employers recognize other religious holidays besides Hanukkah and Christmas in their activities, offer locations for prayer, flexible work schedules, and recognize the positive values that spirituality can bring to the quality of work life. Executives, too, admit being guided by their spirituality or Christian roots and encourage their employees to do so as well. Still, using this approach, employers don't often go beyond a non-discrimination policy and very often have no special mention for religion. Now, the third approach is the religious competency approach, and it fits nicely with existing HR activities. Religious competency is learned skills which help us understand religious values and differences and ease communication between and among customers, volunteers, and employees. Imagine 3 levels of competencies, but most will only be involved in the first level of religious competency. The first level goes a little bit beyond the basic orientation so that employees become aware of respect of others and their beliefs. It particularly applies if there are new ethnic communities surrounding the employer. Even in my very homogeneous state of Maine, Muslim Somalis have recently moved here. At the second level, all employees and volunteers are invited to participate. It adds a step of learning skills to understand, identify, respond, and refer employees with spiritual or religious needs. At this level of competency, employees may learn also about resources in the community. At the third level, board members and administration are encouraged to participate to create a culture respectful of religious and spiritual diversity. But again, any employee or volunteer may participate. At this level, participants may seek out additional training outside the organization to learn how to be a sounding board when questions of faith arise. They might also develop insight about themselves. With policies and religiously competent persons in place, organizations might better understand and handle religious and spiritual differences. Let me suggest the difference between this approach and the legal or faith-friendly approach to improving the quality of life. Do you think a female police officer should be able to wear a headscarf related to her Muslim faith? That's a tough question. Using the legal approach, we think of legal reasons why we have to accommodate, or legal reasons why we can prohibit, as in the case of Webb versus the city of Philadelphia. Safety usually trumps religious accommodation. In the faith-friendly approach, we might accept, as a given, a request, but we might have some very unhappy employees grumbling about special treatment of the person with the headscarf. In the religious competency approach, all of us have some understanding of faith and respect, and the employer seeks out religiously competent employees to assist. This is the approach the Royal Canadian Mounted Police took when deciding whether to allow Sikhs to wear their turbans. A committee investigated and decided that the institution would benefit and be more productive in minority communities by being inclusive of visible minorities. It recruited Sikhs and allowed them to wear their turbans, beards, and kirpans, a symbolic sword. The one restriction was that the turban be the same color and materials as the traditional Mountie hat.
Today's workforce consists of literate workers who expect more than just money from their work. In the modern scenario, QWL as a strategy of human resource management is being recognized as the ultimate key for development among all the work systems, not merely as a concession. This is integral to any organization towards its wholesome growth. This is attempted on par with strategies of customer relation management. Strategy and tactics. Over the years, since Industrial Revolution, much experimentation has gone into exploiting potential of human capital in work areas either explicitly or implicitly. Thanks to the revolution in advanced technology, the imperative need to look into QWL in a new perspective is felt and deliberated upon. Men counted. In simple terms, all the requirements can be easily achieved by providing improved quality of work life to the workers available on roles. Workers are often referred to as teams or groups in general parlance, and whatever they do, go to the credit of the teamwork. Money matters. For good QWL, cash is not the only answer. Today, the workers are aware of the job requirements of the job, as also the fact that the performance of the same is measured against the basic goals and objectives of the organization, and more importantly, wages are paid according to the larger picture specific to the industry and the employee's place in the same. Non-economic job security. The changing workforce consists of literate workers who expect more than just money from their work life. Their idea of salvation lies in the respect they obtain in the work environment, like how they are individually dealt and communicated with by other members in the team, as well as the employer, what kind of a work he is entrusted with, etc. Teamwork. Teamwork is the new mantra of modern-day people's excellence strategy. Today's teams are self-propelled ones. The modern manager has to strive at the group coherence for a common cause of the project. Boss factor. Gone are the days when employers controlled workers by suppressing the initiative and independence by berating their brilliance and skills, by designing and encrusting arduous and monotonous jobs and offers mere sops in terms of wages and weekly off. Involvement and communication. Multi-skilling and exposing workers to different lines of activity in the unit indirectly leads to a greater involvement and better job security of workers in the organization. The employer too can make use of the varied skills to altered situations of restructuring and other market adaptations. Thus, the monotony of work life can be elevated. Influences. Overwork is tolerated in emerging industries unlike government departments as part of the game and work culture. This is so, what with the soaring competition among the tightly contested players. The point is empowerment of workforce in the area of involvement. Workers' participation in management. According to Keith Davis, participation refers to the mental and emotional involvement of a person in a group situation, which encourages him to contribute to group goals and share in the responsibility of achieving them. Participation and involvement of workers in the management of industry is practiced in most countries of the world. Career development. Progression through a sequence of jobs involving continually more advanced or diverse activities and resulting in wider or improved skills, greater responsibility and prestige, and higher income. Did you know that in November 1999, President Merton created the Quality of Work Life Task Force to address and make recommendations regarding the quality of work life for all George Mason University, United States employees. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this chapter. The quality of work life is specifically related to the level of happiness a person derives from his career. Job enrichment refers to detailed analysis of the work to know the factors which make it a satisfying experience. Job enrichment programmers were successful in improving the quality of work and job satisfaction. Globalization has lowered national boundaries, creating a knowledge-based economy that spins and spans the world. Teamwork is the new mantra of modern-day people's excellence strategy. Today's teams are self-propelled ones. Participation and involvement of workers in the management of industry is practiced in most countries of the world.